All right, cool. So here we go. What's up, guys? Welcome to the NC Fit Club team call. Today is July the 28th, 2015. The fact that I had to think about that scares me a little bit. So a couple of house cleaning things that I wanted to hit real fast, and then we'll go into tonight's stuff. We've got some really cool guests lined up over the next couple of weeks and months. We've got Dennis Fowler, who he and his wife both hit elite last year. Chris Reed, Tara Carr, who else did I say? Sarah, our marketing and social media person, is going to do some social media training in a couple of weeks. And it seems like Mike Ryan. Those are the ones that I have confirmed. I'm just setting up schedules and trying to get everybody on a set date so I know when they're going to be able to do the calls and that kind of stuff. I'm really excited about Tara Carr, and I'll tell you why, because Tara and I were talking today, and I said this to her, so that's why I'm not afraid to say it now. I told her, I was like, you were somebody who I watched a couple of years ago and was not overly impressed with and was not a big fan of, because she was very – and she admitted this – she was very into her putting up a presentation and having the right kind of dress and the shiny diamond-studded shoes and impressing everybody at Summit. And this past Summit, when I saw her present, I saw a side of her that I'd never seen before. She was very humble. She was more open. She was more real. And she even made the comment that she was like, I used to be one of those girls that cared about what people thought of me and how I looked, and now I don't care about that. And I sent her this Facebook message, and I was like, you just have to understand that you blew my mind and how amazing I think you are and how much I've seen you grow and change, and the fact that we didn't even really get to connect until now. And so like she and I have been messaging back and forth, and we're both like talking about how it can be a little high schoolish when you go to Summit, the cliques and that kind of stuff, and how we both are looking for genuine, real people to do trainings on our calls, and how we're very selective on who we bring in to talk to our team. And so that's why when I made that list today, people like Mike Ryan, Chris Reed, Dennis Fowler, who's one of Chris Reed's coaches, and Tara Carr, and those kind of people are about as real and down-to-earth and genuine as it gets. So I cannot – to say that – and I'm probably going to try to get Charlene Booker as well. To say that I'm excited about those people is an understatement. They are going to be some amazing guests coming up over the next couple of weeks and months. The other thing, I was talking to Sarah, who's our marketing girl and social media person, today, and she found this website of – there's a company out there that has something that's similar that does these startup websites for Beachbody coaches. And she's been stealing a lot of their stuff and ideas when it's come to doing some setting up of our site and different things that we do. And we are working on trying to set something up with Sarah to where in the next, let's say by September, maybe October, because she's in the process of moving from Chile to New York, that we could actually have something to where we could have she could have a set up website that would just basically a plug and play turnkey operation for those of you that need it. And like we're talking something that would be like $50 to $100, something that would be simple, cheap, but would allow you a website, a WordPress site that you could do blog posts on, would have a shop tab. You could make it your own, and she would set it up for you. But it would basically, they would all pretty much look the same with the exceptions of maybe some tweaking of colors and things like that to set them apart. But most of the time, whoever your audience is going to be different. Like my audience is going to be different from Kimberly's. So like, everybody's going to have their own audience. So I'm not overly concerned about whether or not your site looks like somebody else's or whatever, because you can always go in there and customize it and do things. But I know there's a lot of you that are computer challenged and may need help just getting something simple just to start off with. Our very first website that we paid, looking back on it now, we paid way too much money for. I think we paid $400, $450. $350. No, I'm not talking about the one that guy's dad did. Remember the very first site, that ugly ass green and brown one? It was horrible. I wish I could have I had a screenshot of what our very first website looked like. It was god awful. And if you guys could start off with something like this as your first website, and then as your business grows, build onto that, I think it could be a really good step in the right direction for you guys from a standpoint of growing your brand and growing your business. Because quite honestly, the Beachbody sites that you guys have are great to send people to buy stuff, but outside of that, they're horrible. They're just a big billboard of sales and campaigns and all this crap. And then I would rather you have a site that you can build your brand on, talk about the things you want to talk about, and blog and that kind of stuff. So just file that in the back of your mind. Sarah's going to do a call with us in a couple of weeks, sometime in August, where she's basically going to go over stuff like Instagram strategies, setting up Facebook pages for your business, just different things. And I actually asked her, I was like, I need you to kind of like give away the cow a little bit and not just like tease them with information, actually give them information. Because of the fact that we pay her, she was like, as long as it's going to benefit you, she's like, I don't mind doing it. So we'll be paying her. We're paying her regardless. So it'll just be considered part of our hours. And I told her, I want you to give these people whatever they need to help them get started, because a lot of them can't afford to hire people like you. And we couldn't either. It took us a long time to get to this point. And now she doesn't do any of our social media. We do all of our social media, but she does all of our website stuff, integrating things, and so on and so forth. For those, and I'm just going over some house cleaning tips, and then we're going to get into the meat of tonight's call. For those of you that have websites, we implemented something today that I think is really cool, that if you have your own website like John Monroe or Johnny Mancuso, only because I can see the two of you, I would check into this. We use, we've talked to you guys about Zendesk and stuff like that, but they're through Zendesk, and there's other options out there. You can actually put a chat feature. I know Jessica Nelson's got it because we were looking at Jessica Nelson's site and getting some ideas that we ripped off from there. But there's a chat message at the bottom right of our screen. It's like if you went on our website right now, it says chat with Todd and Alicia, click here. Now, if I'm offline, it'll say I'm offline, leave a message or whatever. What's cool about that, so far nobody's asked to chat with me, but what's cool about it is, is that every single time somebody hits our website, my phone dings. So it's been interesting to know, like every couple of minutes, I'm hearing ding, 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 and it shows me what page they're on. It shows me what they're doing. I can actually send them a message if I want to. It shows me what country they're in. So like today I had somebody from Russia or China was on there. It showed me somebody from Canada. It showed me somebody from the US, and it shows me what page they're looking at. It tells me how long they've been on the site, and you can set it up and trigger it to where if they're on a website page for a certain period of time, it'll automatically pop up a message and say, hey, is there anything I can do to help you or whatever. So for those of you that have websites, that was for you. For a lot of you, that was right. And you're kind of like, oh, I don't know about all that. So I'm just letting you know in case you guys have websites want to look into that. And let me see. Bart, I'm going to have you mute yourself if you can, even though as much as I love looking at your face.
And your hand.
And your hand. So just mute yourself if you don't mind. What else? Team Cup. So we talked a lot about this with our Coach Basis group last night. Make sure that you get your Team Cup registered by the end of the month. Was it the 31st? Is it 31 days in July? Mm-hmm. By the 31st, make sure you get your teams registered before August the 1st. What we're suggesting to people, instead of setting up a Facebook group, because God knows we've got tons of those and there's more than we really need, what we're doing is we're setting up either a text message thread with the other 4 people, or we're setting up a Facebook message thread so that we're not having to deal with finding another group. That way, text messaging is so much faster. It's instantaneous. So is Facebook messaging groups. If you've got the Messenger app, you can go straight there and communicate with each other. I would also encourage you guys that are doing a Team Cup, especially the captains of the Team Cup, to make sure you set very clear goals on what you want the Success Club goals to be on a weekly basis or over the entire month. So are you going to shoot for, why are you smiling, Courtney? So I would, whether it's 8 points a week or 10 points, because all I'm seeing is you two while I'm talking, and it's really messing with my head, especially the fact that we're in bed with y'all. It's really kind of creepy. So 8 points a week, 10 points a week, whatever your goals are, the team captains need to be putting it out there and be like, here's the prizes, here's what we're going for. That kind of stuff. Jimmy Nelson's going to be doing some type of a Zoom cast or spree cast about Team Cup strategy. So it may be worth tuning into and checking out anything that you might be able to get from him. I saw something come across and a notification about that. So that is what that is. And is there anything else you wanted to add about Team Cup?
I mean, as a captain, I think you need to set your expectations for, what you want the group to be. And like I had said last night in our Coach Basics call, if you have not watched the Super Saturday video, go back and watch that part about the coach from Canada talking about her strategies, because it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, and make sure if you've got somebody on your team that's struggling with Success Club points, it's on your team cup, that affects you. So reach out to them and say like, hey, what's going on? I see you're not getting, what can we do to help you and kind of help pick them up or whatever. So anybody got any questions or comments on that before we move on? Anybody? All right. So I posted about 15, 20 minutes ago, I posted in the NC Fit Club coaches thread. I said, what are some of the struggles you're going through in your business right now? Comment. And what was overwhelmingly the majority of this was closing deals, getting people to join challenges, securing organization and time management was second, but most of it was dealing with, I'm just reading over them right now, dealing with how to talk to people and getting there. And Ryan, I'm going to call you out. If I ever hear you say the word convince people, I will slap you across the face with a hammer. Never, ever, 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 ever use the word convince people. If you got to convince somebody, you don't need to have them in your group. If you got to convince somebody to be a coach, it ain't the right person. I love this saying, and I say it all the time, but remember this saying: you can never say the right thing to the wrong person, and you can never say the wrong thing to the right person. For those of you that are in our Coach Basis group, which, by the way, this is going to be the most amazing Coach Basis group we've ever run, and those of you that aren't in it are really missing out because this group is going to be freaking crazy. But those of you that are in the group that listen to the goal audio on goals that Craig talked about, he talked about this very thing about, the right person and the wrong person and how you cannot mess it up if it's the right person. So and he also talked about looking at your batting average. So for those of you that are talking about the closing rate, or let's say getting people to join your challenge group, one of the things that stuck out to me in that audio, because I was listening to it today, was Craig was like, if I talk to 5 people and 4 of them say no and 1 of them joins, he said, I always batted 100 because I was always going for that one person. So if instead of looking at it like you're 1 for 5, you need to look at it like you're 1 for 1. So if you ask 5 people and 1 of them says yes, look at it as you're 1 for 1. If you've read the book Go for No, you have to get 10 no's to get 1 yes. So you should actually be counting those no's and being like, okay, that's 1 more no closer to a yes. That's 1 more no closer to a yes. Now, with having said that, if you're getting nothing but no's and you're getting 20 no's and there's not a yes sprinkled in there from time to time, then that tells me a couple of things. Number one, it tells me that you're not connecting to their emotional why well enough to find those 2 people. Because if you get 20 no's, for example, and we're running off just the law of averages in the numbers game, at least 2 of those people should have said yes. So that tells me that there was something that you're missing when it comes to forming them, connecting them to your why, figuring out what it is that they need and how you can service them to get them to their goals. So I went and found some training which actually ties into this, which we'll hit real quick, and then we'll talk, if we got time, we'll talk about time management. But it's about doing exposures. So this ties into what you guys are dealing with as far as getting people to join your challenge groups, getting them to say yes, and so on and so forth. Number 1, and I would take notes if I was you. No, see, somebody just got on our website and just dinged me.
It's probably one of them.
It's probably one of y'all. So you have got to realize what this business is, what you've got in your hands, the opportunity that you have to help change somebody's life. And I've said this time and time again, and I can't help it because it fits this situation. You never know whose destiny you hold in your hands. Now, I may not agree with everything. After 7 years of being in this business, I will always be grateful to Monica for getting me involved with Beachbody. Do I do everything the way Monica does, and do I follow her completely? No, everybody's got to do it their own way. But I've always said this. It took her asking me 7 times before I said yes. In 6 months before I said yes to be a coach. And I can promise you, almost 99% of you on this call right now, after 6 months, wouldn't even made it 6 months. I'm just being honest. You wouldn't have made it 6 months. I don't even know that I would have made it 6 months if I kept getting no's from this one person. I don't know why she kept asking. I don't know if she does that with everybody, but whatever it is, it's obviously made her successful because she's a millionaire club. She makes a shitload of money. So she's obviously doing something right because she goes for no. And she kept going for no. And she asked me and asked me and asked me and asked me and asked me. And the 7th time I finally did it. I don't know why. And it wasn't because she had beat me down and I was like, okay, I give up. I'll sign up for the stupid MLM just to get you off my back. That really wasn't why. I did it because I cared about helping people. This business is an amazing opportunity for you to change somebody's life from a customer or as a coach. We talked about that on the Coach Basis call the other night about changing the lives of not only your customers, but your coaches. You have an incredible responsibility in this business as a coach to take very seriously what these people are telling you they want to achieve. And when you're having those conversations, you need to make sure you're listening as well as you can so that you know what to ask that person in order to find that emotional why. Ryan was asking, or somebody posted in there, how do you know when to go for it? How do you know when to go for it? When the little voice in your head tells you, I got this, I know exactly what they want, and you can then repeat it back to them and then ask them how serious they are about wanting to get that done, that's when you know to go in for the kill or to go in for the sale or go in for the close or, as God forbid, go in for the convincing in Ryan's definition, but that doesn't even count, so scratch that. But you have to understand. So believe in what you have and get rid of the fear. You cannot be afraid of people telling you no. You can, and like same thing I just said about Craig, same thing I just said about Monica. You cannot be afraid of people saying no. You've got to look at no's as the one step closer to the next person that's going to say yes. So it's all about your attitude and your confidence. If you worry, this is the funniest thing to me. If you worry about what other people think, first of all, it takes your head out of the game and you're not listening. And what the reason why I say this cracks me up so funny, because I heard somebody talk about, I think it was Danny Johnson talked about this. When you're having that conversation with somebody and you're worrying about what they think of you, what most people don't realize is the person you're talking to is worried about what you're thinking about them. So you're both playing this stupid magnetic game where you're pushing each other away, when in reality, you don't really give a crap what they don't really care about you, and you obviously don't care what they think about. I mean, it's the exact opposite. You think that they're worried about you, and they think you're worried about them, and neither one of you really worried about anything at all. So like you're sitting there going, I wonder what they're thinking. I wonder what they're thinking. What they're thinking is, I wonder what you're thinking. I wonder what you're thinking. So you're really not thinking about each other. You're thinking about the insecurities that each one of you have in that conversation, because they have to be vulnerable to give you the answers. You have to be vulnerable to be able to ask and go for no. So you're both in a vulnerable state and you're both worried about something that really doesn't exist. So get rid of the fear. Have a confidence in yourself that you are in that position at that very moment for a reason. What is the reason? Why are you talking to that person? There was a reason why you decided to call them. There was a reason why they came to your fit club. There was a reason why somehow your two paths crossed. And if you let fear get in the way of that, you're missing an amazing opportunity. And like I said a second ago, you don't know whose destiny you hold in your hands. And if you let the fear screw that up for you and screw it up for them, and you guys don't go down the path you were meant to go down because of stupid fear, then you never know what could have happened. Same thing with me and Monica. I keep using that example over and over. So if you let's see what I'm trying to read some of these notes as I'm going through this. A lot of people are afraid that somebody's going to ask you a complicated question about the business, and everybody's afraid about not knowing the answers and not knowing this or not knowing that. And Danny Johnson talks about this a lot. Story sell, facts tell. Nobody's going to sign up for a challenge group because you know every single nook and cranny of every ingredient in Shakeology, or you know every single dance move in size, or you know every move in Max 30, or because I'm friends with Shaun T. That they don't care about that. All they care about is, can they get done what they need to get done? And if you don't know the answers, if they're asking you something about Shakeology and you don't know the answers, say, I don't know about that. All I know is, and give them a story. Or you could even be honest and say, look, I just signed up as a coach. I'm new. I don't have all that information yet, but I have somebody, I've worked with somebody that does. Let me get back with you and I'll get you the answer. It's okay. I would rather you do that than either fake it, lie, or try to do something that makes you look stupid. If you're honest with them, number one, it shows that you're being vulnerable. It shows that you're not putting up a front, because nobody likes that salesperson that is like full of crap and just putting on that facade and being all fake and doing the whole scripted thing or whatever. just be you and just be honest. And you know what? Like I said before, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. If that screws up the sale, then maybe you did. Maybe it just wasn't meant to be. Maybe you don't need that person in your business, or maybe you don't need that person in your challenge group. Be a thing. Somebody said something about figuring out, finding exposures and finding people. Memory jogger. Follow your dollar. When I say follow your dollar, is a thing that Larry Zimberg told us a long time ago. Think about the people that you spend money with. Like, it's funny. We have a lady that cleans our house. Thank God. Thank you, Beachbody. And she cleans our house every single week. And she saw it. She sees us work out sometimes. Like, sometimes we'll be down here working out while they're cleaning because we try to get out of their way. And she finally said something about doing the 21-day fix. And I was like, where'd you get the 21-day fix? And she's like, oh, my cousin's got it, and we're just doing it together. And I'm borrowing each other's copies. And I'm like, how's that working for you? She's like, well, I miss a day or two. Yeah, you like how we imitate her voice? She sounds just like that. So anyway, so long story short, we're like, you know what? You need to get your own copy. And how about if we actually coached you through it and actually helped you do this? And so she bought the challenge pack from us. She got on Shakeology. She loves it. She talks about how much she loves drinking Shakeology every day. She's doing her workouts. She came over last night and she's down 8 pounds. She rode with us to Fit Club and went to Fit Club with us last night. I text her every morning, and because she's real bad about not using the containers or just not getting the habit. So I said, every morning I'm going to text you and I'm going to remind you to get your carbs done by lunchtime and make sure you're using your containers because she wants to lose 50 pounds. And every day I text her 50 pounds, exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. That's our end game. Don't forget, use your damn containers, like 50 pounds. Bread is her thing. So stuff like that. So that's somebody that we spend money with. She was more than happy to spend money with us. So make a list of people that you spend money with. Follow your dollars, what Larry always said. Because if you're doing business with them, a lot of times it's in their best interest to do business with you. So it's kind of a give and take situation. When it comes to presenting the job or presenting the business opportunity or talking to somebody about being a coach, because that was another one of the concerns. It's also in this training notes. For the longest time, and I'm talking for a long time, I had the MLM fear. And as much as I hated what Carl did at Summit because I thought it was really cheesy, they were in the opening ceremony. He was like, we're not an MLM company. We're an MLH company, a multi-level helping company. And I was like, God, that's really cheesy. But, man, it's also kind of cool. Because, I agree with it. I just hated the way he presented it. But, it was a valid point. It's like a multi-level helping company. And there was one of the ladies that was in one of the trainings talked about when you get the objection about an MLM. I loved what she said. I'd never heard anybody say it this way before. She was like, last time I looked, my checks don't bounce. Every time they pay me on Thursday mornings, the checks don't bounce. So I don't know what your problem with an MLM is, but seems to be working. Now, if you want to get technical, here's some stuff for you analytical people. If you want to have some facts to use. Number one, we have a A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. We are a member of the DSA, which is the Direct Sellers Association. The DSA is a hard thing to be a part of. You have to be on the up and up to be in the DSA. So they're not going to know what the hell DSA is, but if you feel like regurgitating that fact to them, go for it. A+ with the Better Business Bureau, I think, is a really good thing to point out. I would tell somebody that, somebody that's been like, oh, yeah, I've done one of those things before. It never works. Well, you've never done this one, and maybe it didn't work because of who you are. And you know what? I'm at the point now that I would say that to somebody. I probably wasn't in the past, and a lot of you probably aren't to that point where you would feel confident enough to say that. But I just don't care anymore because life's too short and time's too short, and I got to weed through these no's to get to my yeses. So I would probably say that to somebody. And what I would say to them is this. Here's what a pyramid scheme is. A pyramid scheme is a company that pays you for recruiting. Anytime, we had a friend of mine from high school whose wife was a coach of ours. She was a Beachbody coach under Alicia. So she was a part of our team. They had an autistic child. She loved Shakeology because a lot of the ingredients that were in Shakeology, she would go and buy separately just to feed her son because she could control his autism through diet. And she knew exactly what triggered his autism. She knew exactly, like fast food and different things. She could tell you to a T every little food item that would set him off. So she was a huge believer in Shakeology. Her husband, John, who went to high school with me, very good friend of mine, came to me and said, hey, man, you should sign up with this other business I'm doing on top of what you're doing with Beachbody. Well, I knew I wasn't going to do it, but I was like, I was going to humor him and let him at least do what he had to do. So he was like talking to me about it. And it was one of these companies that sells Verizon and DirecTV and all this other stuff. So I started asking him questions and I was like, so he's like, yeah, he's like, you're your own customer. You're your own customer. And every time you sign up a distributor, you get like $300. And then if you do this, you get $1,000. And if you do this, and I was like, because as a Beachbody coach, I'm like, where's your customers? Like, okay, I get that you're going to pay me for recruiting people, but where do I get my customers from? Because I'm used to having customers. That's what we do. He was like, oh no, he's like, no, you are your customer. I'm like, sorry, red flag. That's a pyramid scheme. A pyramid scheme is where you do nothing but get paid to recruit, and there really is no retail and no customers. So when you look at this business, and like, I love this because we also went to do a business presentation with Gina McKinney a couple weeks ago at this lady's house who owns a gym. Swear to God, we walked in and we got ambushed by 4 people that then presented another pyramid scheme to us and how we should.
A pyramid scheme.
Yeah, the hell it wasn't. It was a pyramid scheme.
Okay.
They sat there. They sell gift cards, and you buy your own stuff, and you sell gift cards to your friends and family, and you get paid for signing them up. And they have no customers. And they were sitting there going, and they had the balls to ask us how much we made a week and what our binary compensation plan. They were like talking the binary and MLM language. And I was like literally throwing up in my mouth. And I'm just putting on that fake smile. I'm like, God, get me out of here. And I looked at them and I said to them, I was like, look, you know what? That's great that you can make $30,000 in the first 6 months of your business, but are you going to make $30,000 in the first 6 months of Beachbody? It's possible. Most people don't. But I said, what I do know is that we build an amazing customer base and we have an amazing team. And I said, I'm not going to sit here and try to convince you that you should do Beachbody over this other company. And so I'm using those 2 examples to tell you that we are not a pyramid scheme. You work your ass off for every single dollar that you earn in this business. This business grows slowly because it is a real rock solid foundation of a business. Monica and Dave have been doing coaching for 9 or 10 years, and Monica makes a ton of money. She makes in 1 month what she made as a teacher. We're talking, and that was, God, I haven't even asked her. I mean, it's not like we used to talk about it a lot, but you're talking 30, 40 plus $1,000 a month. Okay. As a teacher, she made $32,000 a year. Now she's making over that a month, but she's also been doing this. She's also a founding coach. She's also been doing this for 10 years. So yeah, you can make amazing money. And like those of you that are in our Coach Basis group that listened to the audio from Craig today, he talked about how you can make a $300,000 and $400,000 business out of Beachbody. You're just going to actually have to build a business that's legit and rock solid. It's not going to be a house of cards, to quote my new favorite addiction on Netflix. So when I'm talking about pyramid schemes and somebody says that to you, be like, look, I have customers and I don't get paid for signing people up. If I sign up a coach and they don't do anything, I don't make a damn penny off of them. I only make money if I sell something to a customer, and I only make money off of a coach if I teach them how to be successful. If I can't show them how to be successful, I don't make any money. So therefore, it is not a pyramid scheme. This business is no different than corporate America. Think of yourself as, since we talked about Verizon earlier, you are the regional manager of Verizon stores. Every Verizon store is one of your coaches. Okay? Every single one of your coaches is a Verizon store, and you're the district manager. If those Verizon stores aren't selling a shitload of iPhones and Samsung phones and Galaxies and all this, they're not creating volume, and Verizon's not paying you quarterly bonuses or volume bonuses each week. That's how you should look at it. So if we're a pyramid scheme, then so is every corporation in America, because that means Verizon's a pyramid scheme. That means Walmart's a pyramid scheme. Every single legitimate business, most of the businesses that you work for, would have to be pyramid schemes if that was the case. You follow what I'm saying? That was I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but it was just, I hate that pyramid scheme crap. Exposures.
Don't ask that question again.
Yeah, so don't ever ask that question. I'm kidding. If you are scared and nervous about doing exposures and talking to people, and this is old school because I've actually done this with some coaches, and now Adrian, you talked about flying out here, and this is something we could do. If I was you and you have an upline coach or somebody in your market or somebody that's on your team, I would go with them and say, hey, on Saturday, let's go to the mall, and I want you to teach me how to do exposures. I want you to teach me how to form people. I've done that with some of our coaches here, and if you're local, I'll do it with you. If you want to fly to Charlotte, I'll do it with you. If we fly to your market, I'll do it with you. Doesn't matter. But if you have coaches in your market that are afraid to talk to people, get together with them and go out there and do it together as a group. Kimberly talked about doing some stuff at festivals and 5K runs and setting up booths. In years past, I would have said, don't do that because we've tried to do it and we never had any success with it. Now, knowing what I know now, I'm actually thinking about going back and revisiting that option because I think now we have a better understanding of what it means to form people and to build that relationship and actually understand how to follow up with people and the things that it takes to get them to show up at a fit club or show up at your house to do a workout or whatever. So I think that's an absolutely amazing idea. You just have to make sure that if you do it, that you actually go into it and get some information and have some real genuine conversations with them so that you can walk out there with at least 5 to 10 solid prospects.
Well, and I think the real key is selling yourself and not trying to sell a product.
Yes. And ask the people that you're talking to if they have business cards. Do not give them a business card until you have their information. I actually don't have business cards. We haven't had business cards in a long time. I'm actually thinking about getting some made just for my own purposes of having them. But everybody asks me, do you have a business card? Do you have a business card? And no, we don't. And the reason why is one of the things that Craig and Larry always taught us is that unless you get their information, if I give you my business card, that gives you an automatic out to be like, oh, I got your number, I'll call you. And it takes the control away from you. It takes the control of the follow-up away. You should always get their information first before you present them with any kind of information of your own. Like, don't give them your phone number. Don't give them your website. Ask for their information. Nowadays, it's so much easier because you can flip out your phone and be like, hey, are you on Facebook? Let's add each other on Facebook. I'd love to. I'll send you a message sometime. I'd love to connect or whatever. I mean, actually doing exposures is so much easier now because of social media than it used to be. Before Facebook, it was much harder to actually get somebody to give you their number. Anybody, like Facebook friends is such a joke. It's like they're not friends. It's just a way of, but they'll let you add them as a friend like that. Even though you could stalk the hell out of them, people don't think about that. They're like, yeah, sure, add me as a friend. I don't care, whatever. Use the third-party tools. As far as third-party tools go, if you're somebody that wants to carry around a bunch of DVDs and hand them out, go for it. You can order. I don't know. I guess they still sell the DVD. I haven't ordered any DVDs in a long time, but they used to have these third-party DVDs, and I'm sure they still have them in the back office. Or you can email them a video link or whatever. If it's somebody that's out of town or somebody you're talking to on social media, you're probably going to have no choice but to send them some type of third-party tool that involves whatever you guys are talking about.
There's a lot of videos in the back office.
Yeah, but if I'm being honest with you, what I would do is instead of sending them something that's prepackaged from Team Beachbody, for us, we send them things that we do. Like we'll do a video like why we became a Beachbody coach. So like if you can record yourself telling your story and you feel confident enough that you feel good about the way it's presented and the way you look and the way you come across, they would much rather hear that from you and watch it on their own time than watch some pretty polished thing from Team Beachbody. Not that that stuff is bad. That's just the way we roll. Doesn't mean you have to do it the way we do it. Like the What Is Coaching groups, I think are amazing opportunities for you guys. We've got like 12 people in there right now, or 10. How many?
What is coaching?
Yeah. How many people do we have in the What Is Coaching? Us.
We
personally.
have like 15.
15. So we've got 15 people in the What Is Coaching.
And there's a lot. That's what I was going to say too. I'm amazed at how many coaches have put people in that group.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's just amazing.
What Is Coaching has been a game changer for a lot of you because it takes the pressure off of you on presenting the business. So like What Is Coaching to me is the most powerful third-party tool that you could ever give somebody. And our commitment and promise to you is that we're going to run them on a regular basis every 2 to 4 weeks. If we can do them every 2 weeks, great. At least once a month, we should be running a What is Coaching. If it's not us, then one of you guys should be running it. Lillian, Lauren Belcher, somebody needs to be running a What is Coaching group if your team has enough people interested, and then and let those people get in there, because what it does is it takes the opportunity for them to actually hear from other people. The videos that are in there are really cool. The way Dave set them up, I got to give him credit. He did a good job, because you hear from a lot of different people from a lot of different walks of life. You hear from lawyers, you hear from doctors, teachers, you hear from people that left really successful jobs, which to me gives more credibility to be like, hey, this dude was a physicist or whatever, and now he's a Beachbody coach. This guy was a lawyer. This guy was a teacher. This lady was a stay-at-home mom. So it shows them that it's people from all different walks of life. They don't have to fit into a certain mold. Then all you have to do is follow up with it and ask them what they thought. And just be okay with if they say no. And hopefully they say yes. What's the other thing on here? The only way to have success in this business is to help other people be successful in this business. And, Craig talks a lot about that in the goal setting audio that we're doing in our Coach Basics. But I think when it really comes down to it is a lot of you are struggling with exposures and follow-ups. It's because either you just need to practice it more. You need to refine your skills and get better at understanding how to connect to that emotional why. And if you're not hearing this little voice going off in your head to be like, okay, now I know what this person wants. So like last night, the lady that cleans our house, somebody just jumped on our website. Last night we were talking to a lady that cleans our house. We're in the car and I'm just like, so how much weight do you want to lose? And she was like, 50 pounds. And I was like, why 50 pounds? What does that look like? Like, what does that look like to you? And I think it threw her for like that. Because if you did Danny Johnson training, you know where I'm going with this, because this is a lot of Danny Johnson terminology. But I was like, so what does 50 pounds look like to you? And she was like, what do you mean? And I'm like, what does 50 pounds look like to you? Like, what are you going to look like when you lose 50 pounds? Are you trying to get back to something you were one day, or back in the past? Or what are you trying to do? Are you trying to get to a certain size? Like, let's get specific. And here's the thing you have to remember when you're doing this. I told her, I was like, Kate, I'm not trying to get into your business, but I kind of am, because in order for me to help you, I got to know where we're going. Again, there's two things I want you to notice about that. Number one, I'm being honest. And number two, I'm being vulnerable and I'm being real. Like, I'm being vulnerable for her to say, F you, it's none of your business. What the hell are you doing asking me these personal questions? Because that's what everybody thinks is going to happen. That's why you're afraid to ask it. But I'm also being honest and being like, look, I'm not trying to invade your space or your personal stuff, but you spent $140 with me and you're saying you want to get in better shape. It ain't going to happen if we don't know where we're going. I loved what Craig said in that goal audio today. It would be like being out there on the football field with no end zone. You're just going to go up and down the field and you're never going to score because you don't know where you're going. We do that with our businesses and we do that with our customers. That's why you got to know where they want to go. So, and this is if they've already, this doesn't even have to be if they bought it from you. This is the kind of stuff you got to be asking them when you're talking to them. Somebody shows up at Fit Club and they come up to me and they say, hey, I'm interested in being in your size test group. Okay, let's talk about that. What do you want to do? So when and it leads into a conversation. So Kate proceeds to tell me she gets out of the car and she's kind of short and to be honest with you, she's probably got more than 50 pounds to lose. But that's not something I would suggest telling her. And I didn't tell her that, but I was like, okay, so let's talk specifics. She gets out of the car and she's like, okay, I want to lose this and I want to lose this and I want to lose this and this. And so I'm like, okay, I was like, that's cool. And so then we started talking about the containers. And you remember when I said story sell and facts tell? So we pull up pictures of Kimberly, which is Alicia's sister in Jacksonville, Florida, who did nothing but the containers, did not work out, and lost how much weight?
30 pounds.
30 pounds
February.
Since February. She's lost 30 pounds since February. Has not exercised one day, just used the containers. I slapped that story right in Kate's face.
And the pictures.
And the pictures. Alicia's like, before, after. Containers, need to do them. This is your problem. Like, this is the missing element. This is the magic sauce in the equation. Working out is great, but if you don't use these damn containers, you ain't going to get the results. And these are the results just by using the containers. So, like, that's a story that sells. She looked at those pictures and she was like, oh my God. And I'm like, now are you ready to use the containers? Now do you think maybe the containers are more of a priority? She was like, absolutely. And then I told her last night, I'm going to start texting you every day. Use the containers. I said, if you'll do it for 3 or 4 weeks, you'll get in the habit of doing it, and it'll be a no-brainer. And I said, every day that you think about that bread, she's like, oh, I love bread. I love bread. I love bread. What do you love more, the bread or losing the 50 pounds? Because you can't have both. You kind of got to get real with people sometimes, and you got to deliver it in a way that's going to present to them. So like I wouldn't bark at somebody unless I knew them well enough. So like her, I know her. I see her every week. So I can be like, come on, let's get real. If it was somebody I didn't know, I wouldn't do that. I would be like, hey, I want to help you. I think it's amazing that you came out to Fit Club. I think we could really do something like this. I really want to work with you on your addiction to carbs and bread. These containers are amazing. Present the Kimberly story, show the before and after. And then I would do it in a completely different manner. So it's the same message. It's just how you deliver it. These are the things that I'm talking about working on and tweaking and getting better at to help get people to commit. Because every single one of you, almost everybody on that thread, I can't get people to commit. I can't get people to close. I don't know how to do the sale. I can't get people to join the business. This is what's missing. This is what you've got to get better at.
And this is being consistent too and doing it.
And being consistent. Some of you may be amazing at this, but you just ain't doing it enough.
Right.
So it's one of those two things. You're either doing a lot of the wrong stuff or you're doing very little of the right stuff. You got to find that happy medium. And there's 2 ways that some of you are going to look at this. Some of you are going to be sitting there going, oh, this is manipulation and this is a sales tactic and blah, blah, blah. Yes and no. Yes, it's a sales tactic because you have to be able to sell and understand why you're selling. But I will argue with you till the sun goes down and the sun comes back up that this is as genuine and authentic as you can get. Because if you want to look at it as being fake, then that's your problem. I'm telling you that this is a way to actually get to the answers that you need so that when you find out all that information, and this is how you're going to close, this is how you need to start closing. Once that voice goes off in your head and you're like, she wants to lose 50 pounds. She wants to do it by September. She has every single female member. I'm telling you Kate stuff, okay? So this is after the conversation. This is what the little voice in my head said. She's 50 pounds overweight. She wants to lose it by September. Every single woman in her family looks like her. She said, I look like every woman in my family, and I hate it. That was one of the answers that I got. I'm tired of being out of shape and getting exhausted. I'm tired of being exhausted for my 3 kids. I want to have more self-confidence in my marriage. I want to feel better about myself. And God forbid, one day I might want to put on a 2-piece. Those are all answers that I got out of a conversation. So you need to be asking yourself, are those the answers you're getting out of the conversations with your prospects? I'm going to guess that most of you are thinking to yourself, no, because if you were getting those answers, you would be closing them. The reason why you would be closing them is because once you get those answers, the little voice in your head should be going off and going, okay, I got this. I know exactly where we're going. So what do? You look at them, and this is what I said to Kate, even though we'd already sold her the challenge pack. So it wasn't like I was trying to close the sale. I looked at Kate because you know why I'm so interested in Kate? Because I think she's going to be one hell of a coach. And I can see where I'm going with her down the road. You can tell when you've got a really good customer that might be a good coach prospect, and you damn well better nurture that relationship. So that's why I'm so interested in Kate, because I think she's a lady that cleans houses. She doesn't make a ton of money, and I think she can make one hell of a coach, and she's got a large circle of influence with all the people that she meets and all the women's groups that she's in and all the people that are now coming up to her and watching her that she's losing weight. That's where I see the big picture of going with this. I see her as a tool to help more people. So last night, after I got all that information that I just told you, I looked at her and I said, Kate, how serious are you about losing the 50 pounds? And I actually pointed, losing this, not looking like the women in your family, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, I'm dead serious. And I was like, great, tomorrow we start. You start the containers. I'll text you every morning. You make sure you work out. You get over here on Wednesday night. 2 days a week, I want you at my house. And we're going to work out, and we're going to get you there, and we're going to shoot for the end of September. That's the kind of conversations you need to be having with people. So what do you do? What do you do if you're sitting there going, that's great, Todd, but these people don't live in my town? This amazing thing that you're sitting on right now called Zoom allows you to work out with people virtually at the same time. We have just started doing that. We did that with Max 30. This right here is an amazing opportunity for you to say, hey, once or twice a week, let's get on Zoom together and let's work out at the same time. And I'll be there with you every step of the way. And you can see each other and you can talk to each other and you can give each other thumbs up and you can high five and you can, pause and be like, oh my God, are you dying? Yeah, I'm dying. Okay, let's keep going. We're almost done. It's an amazing tool. We've done it with our Max 30 people and they love it. Sean and I did it with a whole test group of coaches when we were going through the test group. It's an amazing tool. There is no excuse, no boundary that should keep you from having this kind of a connection with those people in your test group if they're not local. If they are local, I would figure out a way to work out with them in person, because there is nothing like sweating with somebody in the same room, because you build that bond. It's like your brothers in arms or sisters in arms or whatever, just like at Fit Club. That's why I love Fit Club, because, man, last night we did Max 30. We must have had 15, 20 people in there. Most of them looked like most of them had never done Max 30, and you should have seen the looks on their faces when they saw Max 30 pop up on the screen. They're like, oh, hell no, I ain't doing this. And I looked at them and I was like, guess what? We're going to do a modifier track. It's going to be on the right side of the screen. And I said, I promise you I'm going to get you through this. And at the end of the night, we took this big group picture that you saw on our social media, if you saw it. And if you notice, go look at that picture when we get off this call and look at how many overweight women are in that picture. And as soon as we took that picture, I looked at every single one of them and I said, every single one of you should be proud of yourselves, because I know every single one of you that raised your hand before we started that had never done Insanity thought Insanity was something that they could never do and was impossible. And I said, every single one of you just proved to yourself that you can do this. And I said, now you should know that when you come back next week that I got you, we got you, and you got this. And and I'm telling you, this just takes a lot of time to build confidence in yourself, to get out of your own way, to think like the way I'm telling you to think. Most of you have this in you. You're just so damn afraid of the other person saying no or looking stupid or what they're thinking about you, which they're not thinking anything about you because they're worried about themselves, that you don't let this come out. That's your answer to all your comments on that thread. You are getting in your own way. You just need to practice this, get more confidence in what you are and what you do as a coach. And the more confidence you gain, the more easier this gets, to where you won't even give a flip. You'll be like, popping it off. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think John wanted to say something talk about YouTube. But
John Monroe?
mm-hmm.
All right. Anybody got any questions about that before we close out or move on or whatever? I mean, seriously, if you got questions about exposures, I want to hear them, because that seemed to be everybody's problem in closing deals. Okay. That's it? Nobody has a question. We answered it all right there. I mean, I know I talked a lot, but damn. That was it?
C4.
I think I do still have C4 in my system.
I think you do too, because that was crazy, but that was good.
No, I'm just very passionate about this.
You are.
And I'm look, I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm not saying this. I'm being serious. I actually, when it comes to forming, I have a lot of confidence in what I do. I'm really good at it, so therefore I don't mind preaching about it, because it took me a lot of practice and time. And that's what I'm telling you. If you commit to practicing this and you really, really, really want to be good at it, you've got to practice it.
Hey, Todd, I have a question.
Yeah.
I deal with a lot of truck drivers because
Right.
of where I work. And they're usually in and out real quick. And I see that to be an advantage, because then you can, try and exchange information or contacts really quick, to get them out and then talk to them later. But how do you just bring it up, when you only got a couple seconds when their truck's getting loaded with a pallet or something and they're out? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would. So how does the conversation usually start?
Well, it's usually they'll just, say like, well, how's it going? You guys busy? And I'll ask them if they're busy, and that's basically it. Or some of them don't even talk to you. They'll just stand by by their truck waiting to get loaded. And they're like, okay, don't bother me, sign papers and leave. So it's basically, how's your day going? That's how it starts, and then I usually ask them sometimes, like, something like, how's work going? How's it going? Are you guys busy? do you like what you do? And then sometimes it just leads to, yeah, it's cool. And then that's it, and sometimes like today I was talking to a guy and I was able to actually, we exchanged information, and he said he wanted to lose weight, and he almost had a gastric surgery or something like that.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was able to talk to him because he was willing to talk to me, because when I saw him, he was a big guy and he was sweating, just sweating. So we were able to talk and connect, because he told me, because I asked him, I said, how do you, I just started just talking to him, and I said, how do you eat when you drive so many hours? I mean, you must have, not be able to eat well. And he said, well, no, I had an apple for breakfast this morning. Then I had a sandwich for lunch. Then I had dinner. And, so we started talking that way. But I think I have a big opportunity, because I have a lot of drivers coming in and out. But at the same time, they're like, yeah, don't bother me. I want to get to my other place. I got things to do.
So I would say, pay attention to, think back to what I said at the beginning of this call. It takes certain no's to get to a yes.
Yeah.
I think what you're talking about is the law of averages. You can't force a conversation on somebody that's putting up a wall and not really giving you anything. Like if you say, hey, what's up? How's your day going? He's like, cool. And he's giving you just short answers. If you come in there trying to force a conversation about fitness and eating, he's going to think you're crazy. It's just going to look really awkward. But the guy that actually talked to you, it's like you have to go through 4 or 5 of those truck drivers before you get to the guy that you talk to. So it's just a matter of the law of averages. And like a truck driver, I don't know. I mean, I know most of those trucks, some of them have TVs in them or whatever. Yeah. So because they sleep in them and they sleep in the back or whatever. If they have TVs, 9 times out of 10, they've got a USB port. And a truck driver is the perfect person to sell an on-demand challenge pack to. Because they can get something.
Get them on Shakeology.
I mean, number one, just get them on Shakeology. Or if they have any interest in working out, they could do on demand, and they could buy Chromecast for $35, get on demand, and all they got to do is pop it in the side of their TV, and then bang, they got on demand library right there. They don't even have to have a computer. They just have to have access to a TV.
Okay. Yeah, I think I got 3 no's and 1 yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, then what did you – so, see, I want to see if you're paying attention. What was your batting average?
It was 1,000.
Right. Exactly. You were 1 for 1. You weren't 1 for 3.
Yeah. Okay, so, cool.
Start looking at it like that.
Okay.
And like
one of the
being more consistent, and not if you do just one a day or one every other day and you get no's, do more. Do 10.
Yeah. Some of the drivers I see repeatedly, so because they're my daily drivers, and it's like, oh, yeah, I already asked you. All right, yeah, okay. But I mean, I get long haul drivers, and I get, a lot of FedEx drivers, UPS drivers, just different carriers I deal with. So when I see a new guy out there, I'm like, oh, let me go out there and, see if I can spark up a conversation. And my brother works with me, and he started laughing because he saw what I was doing. He's like, oh, shoot. But anyways, yeah, it's besides the point.
Hey, can I say
What's up?
Can I say something to you? If you have any logos or anything that has Beachbody on it or anything like that, like a cap or anything, sometimes that sparks interest. People see that. Like the other day I had people delivering furniture, and on my fridge is the Max 30 actually calendar. And as they were going out, they noticed it, and they actually stopped dead on their tracks just to ask me about it. Who was doing it? What was it? Does it work? And of course, then I shared my son's story, and they were amazed, and they're coming back, and I'm sure I'm going to hit them up again. So even though they don't come at you and say yes the first time, and you say, they're your drivers in every day, don't give up on them. Don't hound them, because that'll keep them, up guarded with you. But when you get an opportunity again, spark another conversation. Don't give up.
Yeah. No, I do have wear and share. But where I work at, I work with fiberglass and insulation. It really kills your clothes. So I was thinking of buying some of the wear and share off the clearance, because the clothes get destroyed within 6 months. They got holes in them, and they're just no good.
Oh, I know. Trust me.
Yeah, but I hear you. Thanks, though.
So, Adrian, one of the things that I would add is when you're having those conversations with those truck drivers, try and avoid close-ended questions. So how's your day going is kind of you're going to either get a good or a bad, and then it's going to kind of stop.
Mm.
So instead of how's your day going, just say, tell me about your day. So that
Yeah.
sparks those people to kind of give you more information than just, oh, it's good.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
open-ended questions are very powerful in sort of getting a conversation flowing. So
Mhm.
try and avoid yes, no, closed-ended answered questions and do open-ended questions that beg for feedback. Like, I want to know what your day was like. I
Mhm.
need to know the details. So
What was that question again?
I'm sorry.
What was the question? How did you ask the question? The open-ended question?
So if you were walking up to one of these truck drivers and you wanted to know about their day, instead of saying, you having a good day, they're obviously going to say yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
But I would recommend saying, tell me about your day.
Okay.
Because that's sort of a open-ended, like that. There's a lot of things they could tell you about their day. Well, I didn't get lunch, or I skipped breakfast, or I'm really busy because, I've got to get the truck back to wherever. So open-ended questions give the person that you've asked it to more power and more ability to give you much more information to work with than sort of a yes/no answer.
Cool.
If that
Cool.
makes sense.
Like
Yeah,
where,
that makes sense.
where you traveling to, You could say, where are you traveling to, or where did you travel from, or, where are you headed after here?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to talk to you then, and then
Yeah.
just watch for that next invitation to go into it.
Cool. Thank you.
And use yourself to sell it. I mean, I'm sure you've had some kind of success somewhere. Even with Shakeology, I mean, there's so much benefits there. As a, truck
Oh, yeah.
drivers tend to have a bad rep about not being able to work out and gaining and stuff. There's a lot of benefits there that you could share with them, but you got to wait for that right invitation to jump in.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
And have sample packs of Shakeology nearby to give them if the opportunity arises.
Actually, I've got them and I've handed some out.
Very cool. And then have your Shakeology shaker cup in your hand at all
Yeah.
times.
Got it at work.
Hey, Todd. Hey, Todd.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention, you said sample packs of Shakeology, and I quit saying that about 6 or 7 months ago because people think samples are free. I call them travel packs, and I get more people interested.
I like that.
Just helps. Yeah.
What are they called? Travel pack? You call them travel packs?
I call them travel packs, yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
Well played. It trips me out every time I see that room, Johnny. I love that room. It's so cool. Anybody else have any questions?
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Yep.
I would say, Adrian, talk to Todd about forming. I mean, everybody else's advice is great, but start forming these guys. And if you see people, the same guys all the time, and you know a little bit about their family and you know a little bit about their occupation. I mean, they're truck drivers, but how long, what companies have they worked for, what's the farthest they've driven? If you start asking them questions,
You become interested in them.
And make it a long-term game. So
Yeah.
look at it like it may take you 8 weeks to get little tidbits here and there to
Right.
where you finally have enough to be like, hey man, a couple weeks ago you mentioned this, and it made me think of you about, it presents you the information that you can then go back and use.
Well, and also,
yeah, what do you do for fun?
Yeah.
What do you do for recreation? What do you do for fun on the weekends?
Yeah. A lot of them, believe it or not, a lot of them tell me on the weekends, I just drink. Okay. I just drink and party. Okay. That's cool. But what I got to do is I got to get out of my mind because I talk to a lot of them on a daily basis because they're local drivers, and they'll tell me like, yeah, it's rough being a driver. It's hard. I don't make a lot of money. This job sucks, but I got to make ends meet. So I used to, not no more. I used to think like, well, they're probably not going to want to, they can't afford that and they don't want that because they're barely making ends meet. So how could I, not that I sold them or try to sell anything, but how could I try and present them to it? But then I'm starting to recant that and think like, okay, you know what? You never know. I mean, you never know, because a couple of my HD Shakeology customers now, I wouldn't have guessed they would have gotten it, I'll be honest with you. I was like, oh, wow, that just blew me away on that one. But
So-
I'm trying to get that out of my mind where they tell me, yeah, I don't work a whole lot. I don't get paid a lot. I got to fix my own truck and this and that. So I used to think like, okay, I can't really sell to them. Not sell, but I can't present it to them because they're going to be like, I just told you I could barely make enough money. But I'm starting to think differently, which is good.
One of the things I would advise you to do, if you have frequent exposure to these people, Adrian, is to try and find the hook. And what I mean by the hook is, if you've got Johnny the truck driver that, has a ton of pictures of his kids and his cab of his truck, and he's always talking to you about his kids, and you, for example, let's use like, okay, so Johnny the truck driver talks about his kids all the time, but he gives you the response of, well, a party on the weekends. Use his kids as a catalyst to say, well, and ask permission to give him this, like, well, do you mind if I talk to you about what your drinking might be doing to you?
Mm-hmm.
And if he says yes or no, obviously, hopefully he says yes, say, the ill effects of that could potentially impact your ability to see your kids and be able to play with your kids. Like, what are some things that you're willing to work on? Small goals, if it's cutting back one beer every weekend or implementing Shakeology in your diet, like, what is something you're willing to do to make sure you're around for your kids?
Yeah.
And use any kind of hook you can get, whether it's, an ailing mother, a elderly father they've got to take care of, whatever. If you hear something like that, use that to motivate them to change what they're doing.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yep.
The last thing I would add to that is, like, if somebody says, like, if they're talking about their job sucks and they don't make enough money or whatever, it's a perfect opportunity for you to drop a breadcrumb and be like, you know what? I used to feel the same way, but thank God we just paid off one of our credit cards with my Beachbody business. And then just keep on going. Because, like, you just drop that crumb and I guarantee you they heard it. Like, you can just drop that crumb and then be like, so anyway, what you doing for lunch? I mean, like, seriously, like, you can come back with subtle messages that lay the foundation if it's somebody you see all the time. Because trust me, he just told you that his job sucks and he's struggling money-wise, and you just came back with, yeah, man, I used to feel that way too until we just paid off one of our credit card debts with our Beachbody business. So anyway, so how's it going? Like, what are you doing this weekend? And they may even be like, wait a minute, what? Like, they may stop you right there, but I can promise you, regardless, they're going to file that away. I mean, they get any opportunity like that to drop a breadcrumb, drop it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. For sure.
Anybody else? John, what did you want to ask about, or what did you want to say about YouTube? John Monroe?
Yeah, I had to mute myself. So who on here, just by a raise of hand, is doing YouTube currently?
Let's do a gallery view so we can see.
All right.
Who's
So,
doing YouTube? Raise your hand if you're doing YouTube.
all right. So if you're not doing YouTube, I got nothing to add for you. But so up to you, since we're done with the call, basically. So I'm having a bunch of compliance issues right now. That's kind of BS, but it is what it is. So it's one of those things where let's use the information and how can we all improve from the issues I'm having. So the basic compliance rules are you cannot have more than 2 minutes of total aggregated time of audio or video in your YouTube at one video. So that means 2 minutes of any sound or any background. So like Todd and I used to do all the time, when you have like the TV behind you with the screen, that counts as your 2 minutes, even if nothing is playing. And if you use any sound, like in your intros or outros, that total time frame of 5 seconds of sound will count towards that total 2 minutes that you can have in one video. That's kind of a big deal because for us, the compliance only came out, 2 years ago with these rules?
Yeah. Can I pause you for 1 second on that? Because I had a conversation. This is what actually I was going to tell you about your problem. So Jonathan Gelfand, who's the Beachbody lawyer, who fortunately I have a relationship with, which is who you and I need to get on the phone with. When this rule first came out, we were pissed because me along with Carrie, what was Carrie's last name? I don't remember.
Martin.
Who?
Martin.
Yeah, Carrie Martin, and there was a bunch of us that were really big on YouTube, and now YouTube is like second nature. With things like Periscope and Zoom calls and all this other stuff, they're not going to be able to YouTube's the only thing they can monitor. They have an agreement with YouTube where YouTube's computers have an algorithm in it that Beachbody gave them that scans YouTube and finds exactly what he's talking about, and it searches for the audio and the visual and all this other crap. Now, what that compliance thing was put in place for was to stop people, really stupid people, and some of them were coaches that would literally film the entire workout from start to finish and then post it on YouTube. And then people were going on YouTube and going, well, hell, I don't need to buy it. I can watch it and do it with this other person. So when I got on the phone with Jonathan Gelfand when this law first came out, and I'm going to stop I'll leave the recording going because everybody's dropping off because they're bored with YouTube. But Jonathan's exact words to me were, look, the reason we put this into place was to stop this. He said, unfortunately, compliance is a group of people where there is no gray. It's either black or white. They can see no other color but black or white. So really what we're doing is compliance with Beachbody and probably compliance with any company, because that's why they hire those people, because they want the bulldogs to go after people. Compliance, they're wonderful people when you need them, but they're a pain in the ass when they do stuff like this. So what Jonathan told me was like, look, we're not actually trying to stop you guys from doing what we do. We're just trying to stop these idiots over here that are putting the whole thing on there. So what I would suggest you and I do, how much time is in that video that they're talking about with?
Well, it's more than that. It's the other stuff that I talked to compliance for 45 minutes today about little intricacies that I guarantee everyone on here is not in compliance with.
Like what? Give me an example.
So in your video, you have to say or have posted that you are a independent Beachbody coach. The entire saying. Otherwise, boom, red flag. You can do the 5 minutes of video if there is no audio, 5 minutes of only you. So I'm going, you cannot have any audio or video of Beachbody. And again, if you're like at the intro or the outro of your video that you're talking, you can't have the video on the background. That counts as their copyrighted material.
Yeah, I know. I heard all that crap. I mean, we like very few of our videos since we started using the GoPro. You can sometimes see that screen on the side, But for the most part, here's one thing you can do to screw up the algorithm from catching you audio wise is when I thump Sean's mixes in the background, or if you throw a radio on in the background, or you go on SoundHound or find a really cool audio mix, turn the audio off, the music off on the workout. Let just the voice come through and crank some audio behind you, which we do anyway because it's a better workout. And it screws up. The algorithm can't pick up on the sound because it doesn't recognize the noise that's coming in from your workout mix. It all bleeds together, and it makes it harder for the algorithm to notice the sound. Video-wise, and I mean, compliance is just – I just need to get on the phone with Jonathan Gelfand and just be like, look, compliance, we need to rein them in because they're coming after people for stupid stuff. And he told me 2 years ago, he's like, look, just let me know and I'll tell them to chill out because that's what you guys are doing. I don't have a problem with. But the problem is that when you give a rule or a law to compliance, they're like, okay, this is what we're going by, and there's no gray area. It's like if I don't care who you are, if it's this, you're screwed. And it's like compliance can't. They need to start understanding that people like us and you and everybody else that are doing what we do is marketing that program. And here's the other thing that's coming back that will come back to bite them in the ass is that before this rule came out, and Jonathan Martin, who's a founding coach, brought this up to Jonathan Gelfand, the lawyer, is that before the compliance had this issue, Beachbody was more than willing to take our YouTube videos, mine included, for Asylum, which is what made our YouTube channel blow up, and use the hell out of our videos. And they put our videos out there everywhere. As soon as they did that, they lost any ability to come back and tell me that I was I was breaking the rules, because once they use my property and my creativity and my YouTube video to then turn around and market themselves, and they're using my channel to do it and my videos, they can't come back to me and go, oh, by the way, now you have to go change those videos. Because like the video they got me on the other day, I never changed it. I think it's still on there. I was like, I ain't changing it. And I didn't. And because it was one of the videos that they used. So if they ever take that off, I'll come back on them and be like, okay, here's the problem. You've already used that video when Asylum was out to market Asylum. So obviously you didn't have a problem with it then. Now you can't come back and tell me that it's against compliance.
Yeah, two other things. I had the same thing with Body Beast. They used it on the Facebook page because I think Sagi used it.
Yeah.
But that's a different thing altogether.
So that right there screws them in a lot of ways.
But here's the other thing. So there's 4 complete people at compliance that actually go through and do all the searching, because they manually search YouTube also. But then there is the YouTube computer that does their own copyright algorithm to screw up shit. Okay. When it does that, it automatically deletes your video. You can't even look at it. And that's what was the original one, was a T25 video from 2 years ago that happened this February. So I don't have that saved anymore. And when that happens, you have to show proof of the video to get it taken. Like, so they put a strike on your account. You get 3 strikes, you lose your Beachbody, you lose your YouTube account completely. You don't get it back at all. So, but then if the 4 people in compliance are doing it, they say they're supposed to contact you to say, hey, you need to fix it. Then if you don't, then they'll give you a strike. But if it's the automated machine that does it, you're just shit out of luck.
So I have a question that hopefully John or Todd can, and I think you guys are in 2 different camps on this, but I'm using Periscope as my fit club. That's how I see it.
You mean broadcasting live?
I broadcast live. I say in 5 or 10 minutes, I'm going to broadcast a workout live. You got to join me. Which would be, I mean, in my eyes, it's the same thing as you saying, come to Dance District on Monday nights and do a workout. But, and it's my understanding that Periscope will delete a video after
24 hours,
48 hours, whatever. So is Periscope, like, I've taken a chance and say, okay, I'm going to just squeak by if it's illegal, but
no, I think your argument is exactly what my answer would be. It's exactly the same thing as doing a fit club. Everybody that showed up at Fit Club last night and did Max 30 did the entire workout for free.
Right.
But they didn't leave with a copy of it. They didn't videotape it while they were there. And Periscope's no different. It gets deleted after 24 hours. The only loophole I could see them coming back with, and they're probably not even smart enough to think about it at that spur of the moment. I actually just thought about it because I was sitting there thinking, what would I do if I was some low, cheap ass that was going to try to rip something off, is that I would join your Periscope and I would do a screen capture and record the whole damn thing, and you would never know it. So compliance could say that, you're giving people the opportunity to screen record it on their Mac or whatever, and then they've got it. But I don't know how – it may take them a couple of days before they'd be smart enough to figure out that rebuttal, but that could be a rebuttal that they would come up with.
So what I've done is I've done those workouts, and then as soon as it's uploaded, I get it on my phone, delete it from Periscope, and then I edit it for my own YouTube,
Yeah.
So, but I really, at this point, I really don't want to piss anybody off or get dinged for.
There's no way they're going to be able to. I mean, especially with 24 hours. I mean, the videos that we're talking about that we get hit on, they're a couple years old. And it's stuff that was prior to compliance. So compliance said, oh, hey, we put this rule in 2 years ago. Oh, you've been a coach for 4 years? Go edit the other 300 videos and get back to us.
They're not going to be able to keep up with the changing times of technology. And if they really start pushing the issue, you can switch over to Vimeo and they can't do shit about it. Because if you get on Vimeo, you can take the Vimeo links and post them on Facebook or whatever. Now, granted, Vimeo's I don't think is as big as YouTube, and YouTube's the second or number one search engine and all that crap. But I mean, they're fighting a losing battle between Periscope, Vimeo, and everything else that's going on in Zoom. I mean, what we're doing right now. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, guys.
With on demand, I mean, with on demand, anybody that has a coach login or a customer login, like Sarah, our marketing girl, logs in and goes on and does on demand through one of our accounts because she lives in Chile. So I mean, like even on demand, you're opening up a whole can of worms where people can rip it off. I mean, this problem is never going to go away. They're just trying to crack down on as much of the stupid stuff part of it as they can, like people deliberately giving it out for free. And in the meanwhile, they're just annoying the hell out of us because we are actually not doing anything wrong.
Just send Jonathan a message and get
I'll send Jonathan a message and ask and see if I can talk to him.
Right.
Like,
All I wanted to say with this, guys, was that is just to be informed of you doing your videos. That just make sure you don't have the start screen or anything anything in the background if you're doing an intro and outro. Make sure you're not using any audio or anything else that's longer than 2 minutes total time in a video. Just make sure it's that distinct. And then the thing with independent Beachbody coach, you don't have to say it because I'm your independent Beachbody coach. You just sound like an ass saying it. Okay. I mean, serious. But I asked, well, do I have to say it? Does it have to be beginning? Does it have to be the end? So all I'm going to do to change that for compliance is I'm going to go into YouTube, edit the videos, and we're just going to have a little thing on the bottom that pops up, independent Beachbody coach. And that's all you have to do for it. But I mean, it's just stupid shit. And I just don't want you guys to get into the hassle that I'm in. Like I said, I don't want this to be a bitch session, but more of a informative. This is how we can go so you don't get in trouble for stupid stuff.
And I'm just going to be honest with you about this as well. This is a, everything has politics in it. Jemima called me herself. Like I got a call from Jemima, whatever the last time, like a week or two, 3 or 4 weeks ago, about a video that I just looked at and still on our website. It's one of our featured videos that's got 40-something thousand views, or I don't remember what, it's a ridiculous number. And she was like, hey, I need you to go in there and check that video and just make sure it's within compliance. And I looked at it and I'm like, well, technically it's not, but I ain't changing it because it's a video that's 3 or 4 years old that you guys use. I just never called her back. And I saw her at Summit. I'm like, hey, what up, Jemima? Didn't say a word about it. Never took it down. Never deleted it. Now, I think if you want some incentive to get compliance off your ass, rank advance. Become a 5-star above coach, and they're less likely to mess with you. I'm just being honest. It just is what it is. They're going to pick the low-hanging fruit before they're going to mess with somebody that's been a coach for years and is 5, 6, 7, 8, 10-star diamond. And as much as I hate to admit that, it just is what it is. So the sooner you guys rank advance, the sooner they're going to stop nitpicking some of you because they don't want to piss you off when you're bringing them in a lot of money. Does that make sense? It's politics. And I'm sitting there watching House of Cards, and I'm like, oh, my God, this is like a House of Cards moment. For those of you that watch House of Cards, it's total manipulation. I mean, I'm just telling you, it just is what it is. You can love it or hate it, but it's sometimes part of the game. That doesn't make you feel any better, John, but I know it lights a fire into your ass to get the 5-star because I know you want to be 5-star anyway.
Okay, real quick.
What?
Just because during this call there's like stuff's been blowing up, but Star goes diamond on Thursday.
What? Where is she?
Right there.
Yay! All right, Star. So that means is that gonna put Belcher and 2-star? Or
what? Lauren will be 1-star.
That's amazing. That's right, because you told us at Summit that you were real close.
Yeah.
I saw she was on the call, so I just thought I'd give a shout out.
That is flipping awesome.
Thanks, guys. I'm excited.
You should be.
Summit definitely lit a fire under me. I was like ready. I came home and I was on a mission.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Star. It was really cool meeting you at Summit too.
I know. It was so nice to meet all you guys. Whoever was there.
Oh, John, did that answer your question? I'll call Jonathan tomorrow, but are you cool? Do you understand what I was saying?
No, I mean, I already know all that stuff too. Like I said, I just want to make everyone else aware of certain things that, even though I knew the rules, that they're coming back and saying, nope, 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 nope. I'm like, wait.
Here's
Really?
another, well, just so you know, if we're just last thing, because it made me think about, if we're talking about stupid compliance issues. So technically, Star, let me see, is that shirt one you bought from Beachbody, or did you have that made? Did you have that made, or did you buy it? Oh, she's muted. Hang on, let me unmute you.
I forgot. Sorry. I bought it at Summit.
Okay. Is there anybody on this call right now that has a shirt on that they did not buy that they made?
No, but we have some upstairs.
Okay. So technically, like this shirt, for example, was not bought from Beachbody. It was made. So like technically, according to compliance, if you make your own stuff, you're supposed to put, same thing as a video, Independent Team Beachbody or whatever. But
I don't do that.
nobody does that. Like, I am not going to put on my shirt, Independent Team Beachbody Coach, like it's a disclaimer. Like, that's BS. So just, and when it comes to this stuff, I think it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. And if they slap you on the hand like they are John, then we'll try to do what we can to help you guys out and fix it. And because in the grand scheme of things, it's not a battle they really care about enough to want to fight, unless you're somebody that's like selling stuff on eBay or you're giving away the entire program. I think most times out of 10, we can find somebody like Jonathan or somebody that's level head to be like, okay, don't worry about it. I'll say something to him. And that's what I hope is going to happen. So, all right, cool deal. Anybody else? I know that didn't make you feel any better, John, but I promise you we'll get it worked out.
Oh yeah, we're fine.
I am sick of them picking on you for some reason. You've really gotten on their radar, apparently.
Evidently.
So, all right, cool, guys. Thanks for jumping on the call, and we will see you guys later.